Yeah, man. So our CGO, Louis Trujillo, this whole universe is coming from his brain. So, like, he is just so talented when it comes to storytelling. I mean, if you go to our website and you just start reading all the backstories of all the characters, I mean, they're well thought out. Like, he already
Hmm.
has the first novel pretty much written. It's something he's been working on for a while. And then when the opportunity came to do a game, it just made sense to bring all that lore to life. And but he's just one man, right? And so we've actually now reached out to our friends over at Adult Fantasy NFT, Todd and Dusty over there. Great guys. I actually met them at NFT NYC.
Here we are with the Rare Evo podcast. Today we've got Scott Herman on from Wagmi Games. Scott, how are you doing this morning? Fired up?
Dude, I am fired up, baby. I've been having a great week. Just been doing like slam dunks every day, just having a great time. Met a lot of really amazing people this week, a lot of big opportunities through the door. Get to be here with you. All right. Like our DMs were funny. I was like, it only took me a month, but I can do our podcast tomorrow.
Hey, we're here and I love it. I'm so happy to have you on the podcast. We've been talking for a while. Wagmi Games doing amazing stuff, as you know, and a lot of our listeners. But for those who don't, what's your elevator introduction to what Wagmi Games are to the new listeners?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you everybody for tuning in, and thanks for having me, Rand. Really happy to be here. So Wagmi Games, guys, we are a mobile gaming franchise. Our first game, Wagmi Defense, is already in beta like soft launch. We're not pushing the current version out to the entire world, but anybody that wants to play can get in. You just got to send me a DM on Twitter, Scott_Herman. We've been building this franchise for the last 2.5 years, and we're more than just a game. We have original characters, original lore. We have our first comic book that we launched in collaboration with GameStop that kind of tells a bit more of the backstory. And before we started the podcast, you got to see a little sneak peek of the anime that we're working on with a very prestigious studio. We haven't made the official announcement yet, so I can't tell you guys what studio, but I can tell you that this animation studio has many top 10 hits on Netflix already. So we're really taking this thing to the next level. We want our game to be one that's going to last the ages. And the only way you can really do that is by telling a good story and building relationships with the characters. And that's what we're focusing on at Wagmi Games. Also, for me personally, I come from the creation background, and I got my start in this world by going on a reality TV show called The Real World Brooklyn. In my entire life, I've worked in a gym. Fitness has always been my thing. My two passions my entire life have been fitness, and like gaming, comics, and anime, and things like that. It's just, I was born in 1984. There wasn't a lot of opportunity to make money in gaming, when I was growing up. So I had to lean onto the fitness side of things. But nothing wrong with that, because that got me on The Real World. That got me to start my YouTube channel. I was the first person to ever make fitness content full time on YouTube.
All right, we
Built
got to
that.
slow down here. How did you get on the real?
Oh my
How
gosh,
did
dude.
that happen?
I didn't even want to go on the show, actually. So the gym that I worked at, one of my clients, his name was actually Scott as well, Scott Propowski. He had a company called Photos in a Minute, where he would do all these huge events in New York. Like, I went to like the wrap up party for The Sopranos, right? And the reason why I would go with him is because he had a lot of like stuff to carry, and he needed help lugging everything around the city to go to these events. So his business, Photos in a Minute, like, how like you go to a party and take a photo, then you got to wait for the photos. So he had this like whole printer setup thing where you take the photo and the photo prints in a minute, hence Photos in a Minute. So we would do all these big events. And one time we went to the city, there was an event for Men's Health magazine for the best abs on the East Coast. And I ended up entering because I was there and I won. And that scored, yeah. scored me a modeling contract. Yeah, if you have Men's Health, the January edition 2008, you can find my pullout poster in there. I actually had 3 pullout posters in 2008. I was the first person to get 3 pullout posters in 1 year. I'm also still in the Men's Health Big Book of Exercises. If you go to the chest and abs section, it's pretty crazy. 24-year-old me or 23-year-old me doing that. Anyway, so like I used that opportunity, and that was kind of like the catalyst in my video to get on the real world. Is I showed my life and my family and everything, and at the end of the video for the audition video, I was like, oh, and by the way, I have the best abs in the East Coast. Check out my magazine. Just that's what you got to do to get on TV, right?
Yeah, totally.
So, but the funny thing, I had another client, Holly, that I trained for a few years, and she had been telling me for 6 months to like go on the show because I had a personality, and she loved the show. I was like, no, I don't want to, but I always wanted to do a challenge, the real world challenge. So just to kind of shut her up, I made the video. I'm like, all right, Holly, I'll make the video. I sent it in. And I just forgot about it. And like 5 months later, I got my email that I made it to round 2. And it's like 6 rounds. And that's a long story. We can get into all of that maybe in a different podcast.
Eventually, yeah.
Tales from Scott Herman's past. We'll get into like how I got arrested and like all this other stuff. Like not really arrested. It was by accident. They thought I was
All
something
right,
who I wasn't.
second podcast booked right there. You can't mention that and then gloss over
Like
it.
so much went down. I'm just a kid from a small town outside of Boston, right? So all that happens, and now I was on the Real World Brooklyn, so we were in New York pursuing modeling and acting and all these different things. And after the show, I stayed in the city, and then YouTube was like just starting to get popular, and so I had to make a decision. I did get the call to do the challenge, but I had just started my YouTube channel, and I had to like make an adult decision. Do I want to go do the challenge and be gone for the 3 months, or do I want to try to build a business? And I chose to build a business, even though I really wanted to do the challenge. And then I was the first person to ever get a supplement sponsorship from a company as an influencer, right? I
What?
basically created that category, BSN supplements, back in 2009. I was with them for 13 years. I was the head trainer for Lionsgate for a couple of years for their program called BFit. That's how I got into doing. I did the movie Heist with Dave Bautista, Robert De Niro, Mark Paul Gosselaar, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Gina Carano. That was a pretty cool movie. I had a role in that. It was a lot of fun. And then I was doing like integrations for Expendables, Day After Tomorrow, Central Intelligence. Way more stuff than that other douchebag we were talking about before the podcast started that thinks he's so cool. And howls at the moon. But other than that, it's been a pretty cool journey getting to where I'm at right now. And I've learned a lot along the way. And the one thing that my parents always, made sure is that I remained like humble and appreciative of every opportunity. And I think when you're humble and appreciative of everything that you've been able to accomplish, that's how you continue to make
To level
steps.
up.
Level up. That's how you continue to expand your network. My entire life, even before the real world and before all the fame, like I'm the kind of guy where if I'm driving down the road and I see you pulled over, like I will pull over and help you, right? And I'll help you change your tire. In fact, the other day I was going for a run, and this guy had pulled over because there was like an ambulance coming, and it's like it was raining, so the area of grass he pulled over into was wet, so his whole truck got stuck. So I'm like helping him pull his truck out, and we had to like detach his trailer because he had his ATV there. And he's so funny. He's like, I was just hunting in Alabama. I'm literally a mile away from home, and then this happens.
How it always is, dude.
Yeah.
That's
Luckily, a bigger truck stopped, and we were able because I couldn't push it out. Like wasn't happening. We tried. We tried many ways to get his tires to stop spinning in the mud, but a big truck came and helped us, which was great. But like you're just gonna be a normal person. Like hold the door open for people. Be nice. Say hello. Like
mhm.
if you go to Chipotle and the dude's making your burrito, ask him how his day is. Right? Like just
Yeah,
be a normal human being.
yeah.
And yeah, I mean, that's that's kind of my background.
I love that,
Podcast
man.
number
And
2, we'll dive into more of all that.
we'll get way deeper. We'll get way deeper. I had a former boss when I was younger. I was a mortgage broker at like the age of 19, and just really had a great mentor that allowed me to get there. And one of the things he always said was provide value to others and you'll get back 10 times the value. And don't worry about it. Just provide value to as many people around you as you can, help them solve problems, and trust it comes back. That's
Yeah.
always kind of stuck with me personally, and it's something I've always tried to do. How, throughout all that craziness of your history and all the stuff you've done, how did Wagmi Games come up? How'd you get into cryptocurrency and blockchain? How'd that connection happen?
Yeah, so I had a friend, get me into crypto, had me invest in Shiba Inu very early. I got to ride that wave and obviously piqued my interest. And so I created a YouTube channel called Scott Herman Crypto just because, like, as a YouTuber for the last 13 years, like my content in the fitness space got better because I had to always be researching to put out content. This was before TikTok and Instagram Reels where everybody in tight spandex is a friggin' influencer and don't have to have any sort of formal education to put out content. We won't get into that. But you guys all know what I'm talking about. So I always wanted to, because my content's educational, because my thought process was, with educational content, it lives forever. That's why, like, all my how-to videos. Actually, somebody came up to me in the gym yesterday who I've known for a while, but I don't just tell people like, "Hey, I have a YouTube channel." Like, you know what I mean? Unless it comes up, like when I meet people, I just meet them, right? It's
Yeah.
this guy who I've known probably for like a year. He's like, dude, he's like, I had no idea you had a YouTube channel. I was looking up how to do hanging leg raises yesterday and your video popped up. He's like, you have like 3 million subscribers. I was like, yeah, bro. I go, did it help you? He's like, yeah, video is great. But that video was from like 7 years ago, right? It's
Yeah.
educational content. Education continues to educate. Even in this space,
Timeless. Yeah.
it's timeless. And so my thought process was if I do a YouTube channel in crypto, then I'll like kind of be forced to like educate myself more. What I quickly found out is the majority of my fan base that grew up watching my content, high school, college, a lot of them are now in crypto. So like I'll be on meetings with people in Singapore, Australia, like Asia, right? And they'll be like, dude, I watched your content in high school, right? Or college. And it's helped me a lot with my networking in crypto because it's a space where there's a lot of scammy shit going down. And
Mhm.
it even though it's fitness and it's different, obviously, it still brings credibility to my name. And then therefore it brings credibility to Wagmi. Because why else would I be here? Right. In fact, our COO, Brent Pease, he was a general manager at EA for like the last 10 years. Before that, he actually started Industrial Toys, which EA bought out until he got to EA, with Alex Seropian, the creator of Halo and Bungie, was his business partner. So Brent's like a top guy in the industry. He's the reason why we have Roommate Studios redoing our assets. He's the reason why we got GadgetBot, the world's leading graphic arts studio, right? Doing all of our characters for our founders packs and many, many other opportunities and many other people that have come on board since him, like Esteban. Esteban's our in-game, economy lead, right? Production manager. He built out the economy for Apex Legends, Garana Free Fire. Like that's the level of talent we had. Anyways, backtrack to when Brent first came to the team. Lewis, our CGO, had reached out to him on LinkedIn, sent him the website. Hey, we're doing this thing. We're looking for, a COO. And he's like, what you guys have is great. I have one question though. Why is Scott Herman Fitness one of your co-founders? Like, how did that happen? And so we got on our first call with Brent, and he's like, I just want to know before we get started, why are you here? Because I watch your content. Like you've taught me how to exercise. And then
No way.
I filled him in. And I said to him the same thing that I say to everybody, because remember, I joined Wagmi like 3 months after they started, right?
Mhm.
Actually, originally they reached out to BitBoy because they didn't know any better. This was like 2.5 years ago. And then BitBoy hit them with his, rate sheet of like 75 grand just to like get him to the table, which is why we called him out on the TV show, The Next Crypto Gem. Because when he's like, I don't do that, it's like, well, we have the email. In fact, I'm only here because you wanted to charge $75,000 for your services, bro. Which I don't think he knows that because we never said that to him. And so he hates my guts. Now I'm like, hey, thanks, bro. I'm here because of you. So basically,
Oh God, shots fired everywhere today.
shoot, so I started shooting. I started shooting my guns.
Yosemite Sam on the podcast today.
Well, so what actually happened was, so I started making my YouTube videos, and then like I started like tuning into Your Pop and Austin Hilton and Zach Humphreys, Moonshot, right? Rodney, My Crypto Journey, like all the guys that were always making content, classy crypto, and quickly became friends. A lot of them already knew who I was. And I'm just like, hey, I want to learn, whatever. So friendships were formed. And then I'm really big on community. I'm really big on being responsive to like DMs and messages and things. Let me tell you guys a
You
secret.
guys are
Okay.
awesome about that.
I'm going to tell you a little secret. If you're DMing somebody, messaging them, commenting on their post, trying to get their attention, and they're ignoring you, they're not busy. They just don't fucking care. Like, they do not fucking care. They want you to kiss their ass. They don't care. Because I've been doing social media for the last 13 years. I have millions of subscribers all over the world. I can answer my DMs, and I get a lot. I type fucking fast. That's what happens when you grow up playing Ultima Online and you're trying to shit talk before you fucking get killed, because when you turn into a ghost, it just says like, ooh, no matter what you're saying. My OGs know what I'm talking about. So I answer my DMs. In fact, my Scott Herman Fitness business, my right-hand man, Costas, who is also a co-founder at Wagmi, who's basically like the production lead, managing everything. We became friends 13 years ago because I noticed that he was also helping people in the comment section of my videos. Because when I first started my channel, I would go back to every single video and I would reply to every comment and I would have conversations because I was doing what I set out to do: help people reach their goals, give advice. Like, because I had just gotten off the real world, I was really lucky because back then it was cool to do like bar appearances, right? So I would like get paid like on a Saturday $1,500 to go to a bar or a college or do a speaking engagement, and that was like paying my bills while I was living in New York. And then I was spending like 8 to 9 hours a day on the computer, like, in between going to casting calls and stuff, responding to comments, uploading new videos. And like, I would start at video 1 every day and respond to every comment. And I would watch my subscribers grow from like 0 to 5 to 10 to 50 to 100 to 1,000 and be appreciative of every single one. And that's something that stuck with me. And I think that's why I have such a great community, right? That still, even now to this day, when I meet them, now that we're all older in Web3, the back and forth is so good, right? So that's how I met Costas. That's how I met, our graphic art designer that does all the stuff. Even now he works with Wagmi, right? Like, I've known these guys for 13 years. And so somebody reached out to me on Telegram that said, hey, you need to check out Wagmi, right? And I'm sure influencers all the time get messages like, hey, you should check this out. And they just ignore because they don't care, because you don't
Yeah.
have a blue check mark and 100,000 followers. So they think that you're garbage. And they do. They think you're garbage. They ignore you. They see your message. They ignore it because they don't fucking care. I do. So I was like, sure, dude, thanks for reaching out. Like, let me check this out. And that's how I literally found Wagmi, because I answer my fucking DMs, right?
It's
Answer
so
your
true.
DMs.
It's so true.
So, anyways, I reached out to Wagmi and I had a meeting with the core 4. So at the time, it was only 4 devs: I and Lewis, Chris, and Khaled. And me and Costas had a meeting with them. And after the meeting, we just had our, back and forth, me and Costas. And I was like, this is the first team that we've talked to that actually has their shit together, that not only understands business, but also understands how to build a foundation that's scalable. That also understands, like, a lot of businesses in Web3, unfortunately, have great ideas, but they've never built a company before. And you don't have to have that experience to be successful. but it sure does help. And we've seen it. We've seen a lot of projects with $20 million in funding just completely fumble the ball. Why?
Mhm.
It's just experience. Like that's all it comes down to. So like Ian built a company he sold for $20 million called Autotropolis. It was the largest privately owned lead generation company in the automotive industry, right? And he sold that. That was his exit like 5 or 6 years ago. Lewis manages funds for a school district, like $50 million funds, right? As an accountant. Chris, super marketing guy. He's the one who got us in contact with Google, right? Khaled is the blockchain genius. Like the reason why whenever we do something at Wagmi and it works is because of Khaled, because Khaled is just good at his job. Like when we did our V2, nobody, like you all went to bed and woke up and you had your V2 tokens, right? Like this like a year and a half ago. When we do a mint, like the mint works. If it doesn't work, like OpenSea, we had some issues with our collaboration. It wasn't on our end, it was on their end. And it's just the level of professionalism and the dedication was just inspiring. And me and Costas, we joined as like for 1 month as like an influencer, right? I guess. And I helped mint out the Genesis NFT collection, which we minted out in a week. And thank you to all of my fellow friends, like your Pop and Rodney and Ozzy Austin, Will Hobbs, right? And all the guys I mentioned earlier. A lot of them, it was the first NFT they ever bought. Like I popped all their NFT cherries, right?
Love
And they
that.
still have them. They still own them to this day. Um, and it was because they trusted me when I said, "Listen, this is really a really good opportunity. This is a good project." And I've been there building ever since.
I love that. And you touched on a lot of things in there that I wanted to touch on a little bit here today, but one of them that really stuck out was foundation. And you guys are really starting building a really solid foundation at Wagmi Games. Not only is the team completely stacked, but you're working with art and lore and community. And I want to kind of dive into that because, like you said, you've worked really hard in the past to build that with your own brands, and we do the same here at Rare Network. Our YouTube channel has less than 1,000 subscribers right now. Our Twitter has less than 10,000 followers. We're completely honest about our numbers. We're not like a lot of others out there who just buy a bunch of followers and don't respond in any comments, and it's all completely fake. We're a real company out here, and that's what really drew us to you guys at Wagmi Games doing the same. You guys are a real group of folks out here. You're building an amazing community. What has that journey been like, starting with the art and the lore of the community? Like, where are you guys going to get this art done? Where's the passion in that? I see you guys doing the 3D suits and really coming hard at live events everywhere we see you guys at. Like, what's it like building that community around Wagmi Games?
Yeah, man. So our CGO, Luis Trujillo, like this whole universe is coming from his brain. So, like, he is just so talented when it comes to storytelling. I mean, if you go to our website and you just start reading all the backstories of all the characters, I mean, they're well thought out. Like, he already
Hmm.
has the first novel pretty much written. It's something he's been working on for a while. And then when the opportunity came to do a game, it just made sense to bring all that lore to life. And but he's just one man, right? And so we've actually now reached out to our friends over at Adult Fantasy NFT, Todd and Dusty over there. Great guys. I actually met them at NFT NYC because I had just got done walking around for like 3 hours in that mech suit, which, by the way, that suit's 88 pounds. My friend who built it builds like Buzz Lightyear and all the Star Wars suits for Disney. He's like,
Oh
you'll
my
walk
God.
around in this thing 20 to 30 minutes max, and then you'll have to take it off. He's like, that's just industry standard. And I was like, great, I'm gonna wear it all day.
Oh my God.
It's just the cat, dude. Like I was like, Ian's like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm doing it for the community, Ian. Even when we were filming the TV show, Next Crypto Gem, like, when you're filming a TV show, like nothing happens fast. So they're like, get in
Yeah.
your suit, we're gonna film you. And then I'm like standing there dying for like 4 hours. And John was there, the guy who made the suit. He's like, bro, do you want to take this off? I'm like, if we take this off, we're not going to get any more shots. So
Yeah.
like as soon as they say they need me, I need to walk over there because it takes at least 20 minutes to put this chess piece on. Right. Anyways, that's
That's
just me
awesome.
tooting my own horn, I guess. But I mean, it's if anybody wants to talk smack, stop howling at the moon and come put this suit on. We'll see just how much of a man you are. So
And you
anyways,
got yeah,
what?
go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, so the lore is super important. So anyways, at the event, I had just taken the suit off, and it was funny because with the suit on, everybody wants to take a photo and hang around. With the suit off, I was just some weird guy with like a muscle shirt on, shorts, and wrestling shoes at a crypto event. I'm like, I was in the suit. That's
There's
why.
no winning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I'm wearing. I was because I had a padded football jersey for the shoulders, which barely helped. And people are like, "What are you wearing?" I'm like, "I was in the suit." Oh, okay. Anyways, Todd and Dusty come over, and they have their hats on with their logos of Adult Fantasy. And I immediately recognized the font as Spider-Man comic book font, right? And I was like, "Oh, you guys do comic books." And they were like, "Dude, you're the first person who knew that we weren't doing adult porn for like adult fantasy." I was like, "Yeah, bro, Spider-Man, let's go." So anyways, we became fast friends, and Todd, like his background, he worked like literally side by side at Marvel as a creator and a bunch of other guys at Adult Fantasy as well. Before that, he was at Cartoon Network. I mean, he worked on everything: Samurai Jack, Ed, Ed and Eddie, Rocko's Modern Life. He was at Kid Robot for a while. I mean, talk about a guy who knows. Like you
That's a
talk about,
legend. I grew
yeah,
up with most of those
yeah,
cartoons,
me
man.
too. Bro, he designed Meatwad for Aqua Teen Hunger Force. That was
What?
yeah, he's like, one day they just threw this thing on my desk and said, "We need a meatball." So he drew Meatwad. Yeah. See, dude, he's a great, great guy. And super,
Oh
super
man.
talented. And we talked earlier about building a foundation for a business. Well, these guys know how to build a foundation for a story, right? And so, although our foundation is already pretty good, we
Mhm.
wanted to make sure it was really fleshed out because we want to be able to extend the story, but also do origins for characters and have it all intertwined, right? Kind of like
Mhm.
phase one of Marvel, where you had like the main story, then like, origin of Captain America, and then like side quest, Winter Soldier, but it was all leading towards Civil War, Infinity War, right? Same thing. So that's what these guys specialize in. And so we actually have been working with them for the last few months for our second comic book, which is going to tell the story of General Melkros, who is also actually the centerpiece of our anime that we're making. And so all of these things are going to kind of come together and launch at the same time, like probably mid-year this year, right? And the reason why we're doing that is because, again, storytelling is so important. When you're playing a game, especially a game with a lot of characters, do you build your team just because this team is the best, or do you try to structure your strategy around your favorite characters, right? And that's what we want because we believe that that's what's going to make this game last the ages, and that's what's going to make the IP extend beyond just our first game, our first mobile game. It'll extend into our second game, and we'll be able to have interoperability with the assets. It'll extend into the anime. It'll extend into more comic books. So having that foundation for a business is also important. When it comes to your lore, like you really need to make sure that that foundation is set because you can't go back and change things unless you want to do the whole multiverse bullshit and get into the same hot water Marvel's in right now, where nothing matters.
Man, that is so true. And one thing you mentioned in there, like the comic books in your start, like how in the world did you guys get linked with GameStop and do a comic book drop? Like, how did that come together? That's amazing.
I forget who got us the invite to GameStop. I think it might have been Lewis. Like Lewis is just a machine on LinkedIn. Like he's
Yeah,
just like if you just reach out to people, especially like not
it's a
social
good
media
tip.
people,
We
like
use LinkedIn a lot. Yeah.
yeah, like social media people are just for whatever reason dicks and don't answer their DMs. But like normal people in business, they answer their DM. Like I've reached out to a lot of people on LinkedIn just sent them a DM. They're like, "How did you get this deal?" I'm like, I just reached out to them on LinkedIn, and they responded. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
So you'd be
And they
surprised.
showed up to the meeting because
Yeah,
Web3
and
people just ghost meetings like it's nothing.
yeah, man, it's crazy. But I mean, unfortunately, now GameStop, their marketplace closed. Oh, actually, no, I think it was through Immutable because Immutable was building GameStop's marketplace, and that's why we launched our comic there. Our comic has since been moved to OpenSea,
Hmm.
but originally it was launched on the L2 on GameStop because Immutable was powering their marketplace. So that's how we got connected with them. But like all the other big brands we worked with, I mean, a lot of that came from Brent, like working with GadgetBot. Actually, if you guys go like on Ronin on their Twitter, they're like posting this anime that's done by GadgetBot. They just posted a video yesterday. That's the same company that did all of our assets last year. Like it's the triple A like top studio in the world. They do Transformers, they do Jurassic World, they do Ender's Game, Alita Battle Angel, Borderlands 2, Call of Duty Black Ops. I mean, this top tier, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that I mean, it's just it's a small world. Like every industry is a small world, and that's why it's so important to make sure that you're always putting your best foot forward because people
Hmm.
talk, and
Absolutely, they
a
do.
lot of these big brands, like they want to work with people who are easy to work with.
Hmm.
Especially now with so many people doing social media and so many people, trying to start businesses and get involved in things. It's going to come down to whether they like you or not, honestly. It's like if they don't like
Hmm.
you, why would they work with you? There's 10 other people lined up.
Oh, it's really true, and like having good friendly. I started my own business in this industry because I like the people I work with, and it's pleasant, and I enjoy what I'm doing. And so, that's not something any of us want to break. We're here to have fun and enjoy what we do, and you want to enjoy the people you work with. I want to get into your founders packs because these things are awesome. They're sold out. Kind of explain where the founders pack came from, what people are getting in those, and really collectibles and rarity with you guys. I think not only the Art, Lore, and Community Foundation, but you guys have really thought through collectibles, and you can see a lot of collectibles behind you here in the screen. You're a collector yourself. So, kind of, can you explain a little bit of the thought behind that? And
Yeah, yeah.
your founders packs and stuff.
So the founders packs was actually the first time we were introducing the new character designs from GadgetBot. And the reason why we wanted to do that collection, because our game is free to play. You don't have to
Hmm.
buy anything to play our game. You get all the NFTs for free. You get loot crates every single day with more characters and NFTs that you can level up and things like that, right? But we wanted to do we wanted to do a special collection for our OGs because it's cool in gaming, right? To have something nobody else has. And in the founders packs, that was a partnership with OpenSea, where they helped us push it heavily, on their website and everything else too. And the goal was originally to launch 10,000 packs, $300 a piece. Every pack came with all 32 cards, right? It came with like $12 a card or something like that, which is a good deal. And the thought process was we're gonna mint this out over like 4 or 5 months. Like there was no goal here to mint this out in a week, like traditional NFT, launches, right? Which we should have thought about because when we did the launch and we had the 10,000 packs and $300, a lot of people who didn't like read the 4 Medium articles we put out or joined any of the Twitter spaces or did any research got really upset, thought we were doing a cash grab. And so we immediately changed it to say, okay, we'll lower the supply to 3,000 and then we'll cut the price in half to 150. So it came out to like $6 a card. And then I worked a lot with Addis because I reached out to Addis and I was like, hey, like a lot of people like just don't understand what we were doing. They think we were trying to mint out this collection, but it was important to us because we know we're in beta. Like we're slowly onboarding our players as we open the game up. As a collector and a gamer myself, we wanted to give like a lot of people an opportunity to own one of these packs, not just a limited quantity, because obviously we're going to open the floodgates to this thing being a mobile game. But although there was some backlash initially, it worked out to our favor because we showed the Web3 community that we're not above listening to feedback. And
Hmm.
so we took their feedback, we reduced the collection minted out. And then what ended up happening was people are now paying $300 to like $700 for one card on Token Trove when they could have bought the pack for 300 or 150 for the new price, because every pack comes, and I think people didn't understand that too. Every pack comes with all 32 cards, and there's different rarities of the cards. There's rare, epic, and legendary. And it's like when you were a kid. We wanted to bring back that nostalgia of being a kid, opening a pack of cards and like finding the hologram, right? Or the
Yeah.
pass through card. So some packs, like there was like 4 or 5 packs. In fact, Kobe Streams was one of the lucky people that opened his founders pack and got all 32 legendaries. And it was
Oh.
funny. It was funny because he reached out to me. He's like, "How do I know the rarity? They're all the same." And I'm like, "You bastard! I know you got." So he sends me a screenshot. I'm like, "You got like the best pack, bro. It's all legendary." Had no idea, right? And he was so excited. And that's
That's
what was,
that best feeling though when you
yeah.
tell him that and you get to like watch the light bulb click, you know?
It happened to me. So Funko Pop came out with their own cards at San Diego Comic-Con, like Funko Pop collectibles.
Oh
The
yeah.
first pack I opened, there was a Star Lord that was like a see-through, right? And I'm
Yeah.
like opening. I have it on video, and I'm opening the pack, and I'm like, oh, this card's cool. There must be like some see-through ones here. Didn't get any more see-throughs out of like all the packs I opened. I go online, it's worth like $800. It's like one of the rarest ones. But I had no idea. I'm like, oh, cool. This one's like see-through. Like put it off to the side, didn't give a shit, right? Same
Yeah.
thing. That same kind of excitement. So yeah, now people are spending big money trying to collect these because now all of a sudden it's minted out, and now we're onboarding more players and they want those cards. So they got to go buy them on
Mhm.
Token Trove. So if you really think about it, like, yeah, it kind of sucked to change the size of the collection, but now it's actually generating more hype and scarcity on Token Trove, which didn't really want yet, but we'll take it, right?
Yeah.
And it was the first double deflationary collection too, which was another point that was super important. So like the packs are on OpenSea, and there's still packs there. People have packs for sale.
I was gonna
When you
ask that.
yeah, when you open the pack gets burned. So I think there's only like maybe there's 3,000 minted, and there's only like 2,000 packs or less left on OpenSea, because a lot of people bought like 4 or 5 packs and opened like one, thinking maybe they'll be worth more in the future. And then in the game, you can actually collect 5 rares to make one epic and 5 epics to make a legendary. So you'll see people buying up the rares and epics to try to create a legendary, right? So what's happening is the collection is reducing on OpenSea, and then the rares and epics are being burned on the secondary chain.
To make legendaries.
Yeah.
I love that. That's really cool. So you guys have really thought through like how people can continue to use them and collect them and kind of level up and the rarity. They get to level up the rarity as well and like have the legendary over time.
Yeah, and also too, guys, just to be clear, like the Founders Edition cards are the same characters that you would play if you were playing for free. It's
Hmm.
just the special edition NFT. And eventually we want to give like different drop-in animations, and things like that. Visually, we'll get there. But for now, it's, when the game starts, I can see your deck and you can see mine before the match even starts.
Hmm.
Like, I don't know, maybe if you see I have all gold Founders Editions, you're gonna be like, shit, this guy's gonna whoop my ass.
Yeah.
Maybe I suck at the game, right? But I just that intimidation was enough to throw you off a little bit, right?
Yeah, yeah. I want to get into that, like the game you guys have going. Like, what is the elevator pitch for Wagmi defense?
Yeah, so basically free to play mobile game. Um it's not technically tower defense, but it kind of falls in that category. Similar gameplay to Clash Royale, in that you have 3 towers on your side, 3 towers on the other side, and the goal is to strategically place your characters on the map to defend your towers, but also get across to destroy your opponents. Actually, anybody listening right now, if you go to kick.com and you type in Wagmi in the search bar, we have our own category. I actually got us a partnership with Kick a few months ago to get our own category. And I have 5 streamers streaming Monday through Friday, myself included. So if you want to see gameplay and just how competitive it gets, you can go to Kick. There's hundreds of clips there, like 15 to 60-second clips that we do from gameplay. So basically, whenever I win and I talk shit, I clip mine. And then whenever everybody else wins, they clip theirs. So it just creates all these different clips, right, of us going back and forth. But our goal is to really lean into the creativity to make sure that when people play our game, they don't go, oh, this is just like Clash Royale, right? Like we're as much like Clash as Fortnite is like Call of Duty. It's a similar
Hmm.
concept, but gameplay is very different. There's different strategies involved. The way we're doing our maps is different. Types of characters that we're putting in the game is different. We're also introducing like type advantage and abilities and things like that. So the game is ever evolving, but we are in the category of easy to play, hard to master. So,
Hmm.
for example, I was on a call yesterday with a guy, huge, huge, huge Fortnite streamer. I can't say his name. And I've been chatting with him for a few months. And so yesterday, because of holidays and everything, we couldn't connect again. But finally got him on the game yesterday. And, his reaction was like, oh my gosh, this is so much easier to play than I thought it would be. And like as we're chatting, because he was sharing his screen because I was getting him logged in on BlueStacks, he just kept playing matches. He's like, I'm undefeated. I'm like, yeah, bro, you're not playing against like anybody good yet. Like
Yeah.
you're playing against people that are level ones. You're good. Or,
Yeah.
yeah. Don't worry, you'll get wrecked. But he was having so much fun, right? Because I didn't have to explain the game to him. He just,
You could
threw some
play.
characters on the map, and then he's like, "Oh, this guy
This
shoots,
does
this guy
that.
punches." Like he threw one of the spells on the map, and it just randomly, and he goes, "Oh, damn, I got to throw that on something," right? Like it's easy to play, hard to master, and the strategies get intense.
Hmm. Yeah, and like as you level up and learn more, I'm sure the strategy gets more intense as you're going and stuff
Oh
like
yeah,
that. And that
dude.
was one thing I wanted to mention. I love that you guys, it's a PvP game. Like I love kind of playing versus somebody else, even if I'm getting beat, I'm learning like, oh, what that person do to beat me? How can I get around that? I love it.
Yeah, man, that's what it's all about. And even Esteban, who's in charge of in-game economy, like he joins the live streams. Like we are a very interactive dev group, right? I mean, how
Yeah,
many other founders are streaming their own game with their community weekly, right?
yeah.
They
You
don't.
guess get out there.
They
Yeah.
don't do it. I'll give you
You
guys a
guys are
short
doing
answer.
Twitter spaces, you're on podcasts, you guys work extremely hard, and I gotta give you that. I see you
Well, we're
guys
having
literally
fun,
everywhere.
man. Like we're
Hmm.
having fun. That's what this is all about. Is having fun. Like success will come if you're having fun and you're a good person and you're just doing your thing.
100%. Completely agree with that. Let's get into a little bit of the future of what you guys coming. I did get a little bit of a chance to see this anime. It's amazing what's coming. What can you say about the anime to the folks?
I was watching your facial reactions while you were watching the anime. Everybody I've shown it to, they're like, "Dude, that gave me chills," right? And
Yeah,
it
little
does.
goosebumps
It
come
gives
up.
you a little
Yeah,
goosebumps, yeah. And so my buddy Noah did the song. It's another custom song. He also did our song for our cinematic trailer. Very talented guy. If anybody ever needs
extremely.
music or even like just lyrics, like he can write the lyrics and somebody else can sing it, just reach out to me, my DMs. I will answer and I'll hook you up with Noah. Super talent. I actually met him at the gym because he was lifting incorrectly and I was showing him how to lift correctly. We became friends. Super, super nice guy. We actually play Call of Duty a lot together. He likes to run Riot Shield and Cali sticks. He's an animal. Um, yeah, and he's
I
funny as
love
hell
that.
too. He's so funny.
Just having
Um,
fun with it. Yeah.
yeah, dude, he's hilarious. But yeah, he's a very talented guy. He did the song. We're like I said, we're working with a studio, big studio. Yesterday, I actually showed the anime to a guy who used to be the head of anime at Netflix for a few years, worked at Crunchyroll as one of the founding employees. And even him, he was like, this is great. What you guys are doing is great. And he's giving us like more tips on how to flesh it out. But the goal like is to get it shopped and to get it on a Netflix or Prime or like one of these streaming services.
Hmm.
And really continue to get the story out because you know, we're not just building one thing at a time. You can't. Like the world is moving too fast. Like you can't like, oh, we're going to finish the game first, then we'll do the
Yeah.
comic and then we'll do the anime. It's like no, it's all getting built at the same time. Um like, but also the game isn't being built slower because we're doing anime and comics. Like everything is at full throttle. Like we literally hired the entire studio at Room 8 to redo all of our characters and our maps and the game for the new user interface that's coming out probably next month. Like the entire game is getting a facelift, new code, like there was like
Oh wow.
72 screens in the game that were all redone. I mean, it's like a huge update. You guys can be seeing that relatively soon. But yeah, I mean, the goal is to push all this out because, like, for example, I play Dokkan Battle, which is a Dragon Ball Z game on my phone. I don't play it because I randomly was looking for a game to play on my phone. I play it because I'm a huge Dragon Ball Z fan, and I was like, I wonder if there's a game. Like, I started playing 8 years ago when it came out.
Yeah.
So like I typed Dragon Ball Z in the App Store and here we, Dokkan Battle. It's like, sweet, I'm gonna play this game because I'm a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. So you never know how someone's gonna find like your ecosystem. So you gotta have
Hmm.
as many, opportunities as possible, comics, anime, and a game. I mean, that's a trifecta. That's a triple threat. Like we can go to Comic Con and bring our comics and our anime and our game, and
Hmm.
even our toys. Like we have our action figures that we have right that we're working on, all the collectibles that we're working on. So yeah,
How do you
that's why
guys
it's
even
important.
classify Wagmi? Like, it's almost like, is it a gaming studio? Is it like a brand? Like, is it bigger than that? Like, what do you even
Transmedia,
classify it as? Trans.
transmedia franchise is how you would classify it.
I
So
love that.
we're trying
Yeah.
to hit all forms of media um, to move forward. That's the goal, right? It's kind of like you can't call yourself an esports game, right?
Hmm.
Like you can't build an esports game. You build a game and hope that esports
Esports
picks it
comes.
up. Same
Yeah.
thing with like a transmedia franchise. Like we are building towards becoming a transmedia franchise.
Hmm.
So that's the best way to describe it. That's why we're focused so hard on all these different routes.
Areas. Yeah, I love that. And like you said, there are different areas that, they're top of funnel, and you can go to things like Comic Con, or you can go to things where there's action figures or movies or comics or anime. And that's all top of funnel to bring folks into your ecosystem. And it also builds the lore and the brand and the foundation and the community that we started with here.
Yeah,
So
exactly. I mean, even like having the human emperor suit made, right? Like that
mm-hmm,
was so important. And I said to Ian, and the rest of the team, I was like,
hmm.
guys, we need to build this, like build a suit to bring to these, like I'm going to the crypto events and they're all kind of like the same. It's like a booth with like a car, a little cloth on it and like TV screens
Yeah.
and shit. I'm like, we're a game. We need to have cosplay, period. And we started building the suit, even before we were on the next Crypto Gem TV show.
Hmm. Hmm.
And once we were greenlit to be on the show, we were 2 months out from the suit being done and 1 month out from the show being filmed. So we were like, hey, John, can you get this done like 4 weeks earlier? And he's like, I can. I got to hire more guys. So we spent like an extra 8 grand just to get that suit ready for the show. Right. I mean, like we
Oh man.
are we are committed to
Hmm.
bringing our best foot forward. Even on that show, like, we got to meet Jamie from Vulcan, super nice guy, Dreamer from DeFi Kingdoms, Phil and Patty from Suka, right? All great guys. But none of them have been on a TV show before. I have. Ian has a background in drama and TV and stuff. I mean, they brought like t-shirts with their logo on it, right? Which is great.
Yeah.
We showed up with custom anime on all of our clothing. We brought we had Wagmi like shirts made. We had the suit. We had comic books. We had 3D printed human emperors for all the judges. Like we had so much that we brought
Yeah.
just because we know, like we're just every opportunity we get, whether it's big or small, like we're bringing everything.
Hmm.
And that's something that just comes from experience.
Yeah, and we love that. That's why we reached out to you guys and we're like, Wagme top of the gaming list for us at Rare Evo because you guys bring it. You guys do bring it at every event. Like I'm not kidding. We saw you guys at the last event, your booth and the mech suit and all the build out and the lights and everything, the demo going on there. Like you guys had the best gaming booth going on, and that's why we wanted to reach out and say, hey, what's going on here with Wag? We need to learn more here. And what's
Appreciate
going
that.
on? What's going on with this comic you're going to release? On top of the anime, you're doing everything. What's up with the comic?
Yeah, so the comic is in collaboration with Adult Fantasy NFT, which we did a press release. You guys should definitely check them out. It's pinned to our Twitter page on Wagme. Todd, Dusty, the whole team over there, great guys. So the comic book is going to really flesh out the story of General Melkros, who's also the main character in the animatic that we're doing. And what's cool is also the anime is going to lead into the tutorial in the games. Like when you download the game, you're going to see what you saw, and then it's
Hmm.
actually going to be Melkros taking you through the tutorial. Because she was captured by the aliens, and then we rescued her, and she got turned into the cyborg. And then the first map that you're going to play in the game is Nemos, where she was being experimented on by the aliens. So it all ties together. And so the comic book, what's so interesting about that is, the comic, we're using her origin story as a vehicle to tell more of the main story. And that's where, adult fantasy NFT comes in. So like we have all this lore that we have to explain. We have all these other characters we have to introduce. We can do that, but use Melkros as like the vehicle that we tell her story and
Ah,
everything else unfolds, right?
yeah.
Yeah, and so that, I mean, the comic's supposed to be like 20 pages. It might be maybe 24 pages. But it's looking pretty good. It's looking really cool.
You guys are killing it on all fronts, I must say. Like I've learned a lot throughout this podcast, and it's been a great time. Honestly, like digging even deeper in with you, and I think the guests are really going to love this. Is there anything we missed about the future? Any alpha you can drop? What can we squeeze out of Scott here today on the podcast?
I mean, there isn't much.
We did good. We did good.
We did
We
talk
got to
about
do it.
we did talk a
Go
lot
ahead.
about a lot of different things. I wish I could tell you like names of people that I've been talking to and
Yeah.
like the studios we are. But at Wagme, we try not to like hype before things are done. I mean, there's a lot coming in the next few weeks that you guys are going to see with some of the names that we're working with, and not even just individuals, like big names in the crypto space, brands and whatnot. And you're going to be like, how did these guys keep this under wraps until now? Like most other projects would be name dropping like immediately for pumps on their chart or just a little bit of recognition. That's not the way we do things at Wagme. Like when we make our announcements, it's because, all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted and things are ready to go. And we're really trying to make sure that we put our best forward and we continue to, onboard the trust of our community. And from all the outside people looking in, right? We
Mhm.
want people to see Wagme and give that acronym some real meaning. Like in the beginning, a lot of people kind of made fun of us, like, "Oh, Wagme, oh, that's kind of cheesy, right?" Even on the TV show, BitBoy was like, "Oh, Wagme's cheesy." I was like, "Who cares? You're a scammer." Um, but a lot of people were like, even some meetings we had with some VCs very early. By the way, we're not VC funded; we're fully bootstrapped. We own all of our equity. We own, 85% of the token is out there. There's no unlocks coming. There's no like imminent dump, right? Our token is a
Yeah.
100% utility token in our game. It's called Wagmi Games, which is rare. I don't think there's any other project that has all of their tokens out on the market. Like there just isn't. So that I think brings a lot of truth and validity to what we're doing. Being bootstrapped is not fun. It's a cool thing to say, and it's definitely a badge of honor. It sucks
We
because you're
agree.
basically working for free because all the money goes into the game. Don't get me wrong, the game is well funded. Like we have plenty of
Yeah.
money to do things we want to do, but it's at the expense of us. I guess not buying private jets, right? I guess the weight on the
Fair.
private jet. Um, but
Same at Rare Network. No VCs, totally bootstrapped. We've been working hard as heck for years, so.
yeah, well, it just goes to show how hungry you guys are. And I've built businesses in the past, obviously. Like, expect not to make money for a year or two, right? Like, that's how it works forever for anyone who ever made a business. There are some lucky
Hmm.
people that hit it big and immediately. Everybody else, I mean, even Ice Cube, he's like, you want to be successful, expect to work for free for 5 to 7 years, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just known in the industry, like to be an entrepreneur, it's what it takes. It's a
Yeah.
grind. But I'll tell you what, 2.5 years later, things are looking real good for Wagmi
Yeah.
Games, and sentiment around the name has changed drastically. It's almost like now people are thinking maybe we really are all gonna make it. And it's almost like a beacon of hope now, where before it was kind of like laughed at or frowned on as like cheesy or a gimmick. Now people are like, oh shit, Wagmi is gonna make it. I want to make it too. And it's cool. You just got to believe in what you're doing.
100%, man. You've put out a lot of great advice here while we've talked about Wagmi games today. There's been tons of good information for those listening, not just about gaming, but, life lessons that you've paid tuition on to pass down to folks listening. You guys are everywhere. You've talked about it. Where's the best place for people to come join and learn about your community? It's Twitter, is it Telegram, is it Discord? You mentioned Kick, YouTube. Where's the best way to get kind of involved and figure out what's going on?
So I would say go to our Twitter, Wagme Game Co. We have a link tree. All
Mhm.
official links are there. Our
Mhm.
Telegram group is super active. Our Discord is super active. Even our Twitter page is super active. But to make sure you get the right links, go to our Twitter first. And then if whatever you prefer Discord, you prefer Telegram, you prefer Twitter, that's where you
Mhm.
want to go. We stream on Kick Monday through Friday. I mean, no matter where you are, when one of our streamers is streaming, by the way, this is something that we do that a lot of big companies just like don't do because they don't have a creator as a co-founder. When our creators do Wagme content, we repost it. Imagine that. Imagine a company actually reposting the shit that their creators are doing. It's crazy, but we do it at Wagme Games. So whether you're on Telegram or Discord or Twitter, if somebody's streaming on Kick, we will post about it, usually an hour before they go live, give everybody a chance to get in there. So, like, you won't miss anything no matter where you are. And then also, like, if you want to play the game and you're not in the beta, come to my Twitter page, Scott_Herman, shoot me a DM. I'll get you set up and I'll get you put in there. We're currently on Android. We'll be on iPhone relatively soon. If you don't have an Android, you can still play on BlueStacks on your PC, and I even made a video showing how to set that up. So it's super easy.
Love that, man. That's awesome. I believe a lot of people are going to be kind of funneling in, trying to check out more. We've covered so much here today. We definitely have to do a second episode and understand that arrest and more about Scott's life.
Well, okay. Just to be clear, I wasn't actually arrested. They did handcuff me. Then they took them off when they realized they had the wrong guy. But we'll talk about that later.
Oh my god, this
I
is a
did
great
have
way to end
I
it.
did have guns pointed at my face. Um, it was very intense, but it all worked out. It's fine.
Oh man, more coming on the next podcast. Thanks for being here, Scott. I really appreciate it. This has been absolutely amazing.
Thank you, bro. Thanks for having me. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I know I'm a little crazy sometimes, but hey, You know, it's time to stop being polite and start getting real, as they say.